Hello everyone, I am Monica from IELTS 9. So we will be doing this reading passage, that is Flying the Coast. So definitely most of the students, they had reported this reading, and as you know, this was part of 6th April 2024 IELTS exam reading. So let's do this. We will not read anything now, and yeah, at the end you can do this if you wish. Okay, and if definitely if you have learned something, then you can do all the things, like also subscription also and positive comment also. Now for this reading we have true false not given, and second type of question is complete the notes below. So if in reading passage 1 you have two types of question, that means in part 2 and 3 reading passages you will be having more type of question, as well as some difficult kind of reading may be there. Reading passage 3 maybe. Okay, let's do this true false not given first. So how to do true false not given, that's more important. Do it with proper strategy. So what kind of strategy you are going to follow for true false not given? Definitely first you have to read the question statement, understand its meaning, and come out with one or two or three keywords. In fact 2-3 keywords you need it to find the location of this question in the reading passage, in the reading paragraphs. Okay, after finding the location, then you have to find whether it is true, false, not given. Now major question arises here, that how do you decide that this question, this statement is true, this is false, this is not given. So it's all depend after getting the location. See, first we will do this first question in detail. I will tell you. In 1930, so this is my keyword to find the location. Coast and fjord land also, these are also keywords. Had population. Now these three words are required for finding the location. After finding the location in paragraph, then we have to decide whether these two locations had population of a similar size or not. If they have similar size, means same number of, not necessary that they will be talking about similar size, they may be talking the number of populations also. So if they have same number of population or similar size, then it is true. And if they are not talking about these two places population, what kind of population they have, then not given. And if they are talking that they have different number of populations, then this is not given, sorry, false it will be. Now let's find these three keywords in the first paragraph. Why first paragraph? Because this is first type of question. Don't go here and there. We will start looking for the information in the first paragraph only, because first question is this. So okay, so here first paragraph is there. We have to look for 1930s. So 1930s is here, and coast and fjord land we have to find. Coast word I can see this, and fjord land is also here. Now let's read it properly. Actually this is one paragraph only, and this was some kind of printing mistake that actually. So in 1930s, let's read it from here. The west coast of New Zealand, South Island, or the coast as it is commonly known, was the country's wild west frontiers. But unlike fjord land to the south, which was still is an inhabitable, means here at this place there is no population staying. Inhabitable, habitable means where we can live, human being can live, and but inhabitable means no one can stay over there. Wilderness is there, and the coast in 1930s was not only habitable, it was also potentially rich. It means they are talking about population, about coast, but they are saying fjord land is inhabitable. Now you decide your answer, what you can say about it. You will say not given, you will say false. Of course true is not this. Now decide it. So I will mark it false, because they are talking one part only. Coast, this coast location they are talking about, it was not only habitable but it was potentially rich, means population explosion you can say. but here it is uninhabitable. This place to the south, which was still and which was and still, means in past also, in present also, it is inhabitable because of wilderness. So that's why it is false. Now coming to next question, that is most settlers. Now most word is also important. Settlers on the coast were migrants from overseas. Now migrants from overseas. Now settlers, we have to look, settlers on the settlers, migrants from overseas. If they if these settlers were from overseas, means foreign countries, then true. And if they are talking about the country, they are talking about New Zealand, then definitely it is going to be false. And if they are not talking from where these migrants or settlers came, from which country and all, then it is not given. Now settlers, I can see here, settlers hunted and fished, logged, mined and mined. They farmed, where they managed to clear the forest and drain the swamps. It was pure survival. At times the isolation was inescapable, not so much because of the great distances and travelers had to cover, but rather due to topography of the place, mountains, gorges, glaciers, so many things they have given. But we are looking for whether they were from overseas or from inland, means New Zealand. They are talking about New Zealand. So here in the whole paragraph, bridges, again something different they are talking. So I don't think so they are talking about from where these settlers came. They are just talking here in this paragraph about how they had managed to live over here. So how they had cleaned the forest and all. So we will just write it here, not given. Now third, the coast geographical features made moving around the region difficult. So topography is the geographical features. So let's find, they framed, where they managed to clear the forest drains. It was pure survival. At times the isolation was inescapable, so because great distances travelers had to cover, but rather due to topography of the place, the mountain, gorges, glacier, which necessitate long detours. Detours means not taking the proper route. In fact, like this is going straight, but some hurdle is there in this ways, then they can go this way. This is detour. Okay, and careful timing with regard to weather and tides. Bridges were few, and so what they are saying, made moving around the region difficult. So yes, it is true. Yes, it was difficult to move. See, this had to cover topography, so many mountains, gorges, glacier, which necessitated long detours and careful timing with regard to weather and tides. So that's why it is true. Now coming to next, fourth, the first bridges. Bridge word was here. See, this bridges they are talking about here. Bridges were few and far in the early years, and even ferry crossings were often impossible after heavy rains. Each river had its attendant ferryman, woman. First bridge, where they are talking, some pilot is also there, person name is also there. So first bridges to be built on the coast were swept away by floods. Floods is there, no, after heavy rains, but first bridges they are not talking, so I will mark it not given. Now fifth number, Maurice Buckley flew his Avro biplane to the coast in 1923. So I will find this word, this figure and this person name. Okay, so this is these two keywords will take us to the location, and after that whether he flew his plane, Avroplane, in 1923, this we need to find. Okay, now this person name is here in the next paragraph. See this. Okay, 1923 I can see here. So these are the words we were looking. This person name is here in the first line. Now we have to find Avro biplane. Okay, Buckley, a World War I pilot, was the first to give coasters as resident of the region were called such wings by establishing the Aero Aviation in. Okay, he established Aero Aviation Company in 1923. That year he bought an Avro biplane. Okay, this word also we are getting it. Avro biplane on the east coast, which he transported across the country by this and this in a local garage. When he opened for business the following year, the colorful Avro was an instant crowd pleaser, and this for the joyrides. So it means that he bought. So it is flew his Avro biplane to the coast in 1923. Okay, so everything they have given. Residents of the region, just a minute. Residents of the region were called this such wings by establishing this company. That year he bought an Avro biplane on the east coast, which he transported across the country by rail wings. He established his company in 1923 rail wings before reassembling it. He transported all the things by rail wings in a local garage. When he opened for business the following year, next year, the colorful Avro was an instant crowd pleaser and coasters queued up for the joyrides. For the first major flight, so next year he means, so this means flew his Avro. So why he is saying he didn't flew? In fact, next year he flew. He transported everything. He initiated. So I can just mark it false actually. He flew his Avro biplane he flew following year when he opened for business. Before that he established his company and he transported everything to assemble this plane. Yes, definitely this is false. Coasters were unwilling to fly at first. So coasters were unwilling to fly at first. Okay, coasters. Coaster word is here. Same reading. Queued up for joyrides. Oh, same. So here they are saying they were unwilling, but here they queued up for the joyrides. They were in lines to just join this plane. So it means it is also false. Okay, now complete the notes below. We will be doing it. One word only we have to select, and of course Bert Mercer and aviation on the coast, early years. So let's find it. 1934, and then Mercer set up air travel. 1934. Fox Mote was noted for its compared to other plane. So first we will try to find 1934 and then Fox Mote, and I don't know what is that, was noted for its compared to other planes. Okay, comparison to other planes is also important. So in next paragraph, this person name is here, Mercer, who made this started air travel, the NG in. So in next page it will be there. So here in next paragraph I have got 1934. See this. So 1934 I have got. Now Fox Mote also I want to look. Fox Mote is here. So let's read it from here. So here we got on the previous page air travel NG. Following year, Mercer's aircraft of choice was this Fox Mote. By comparison word is also there. See this, comparison with the regular aircraft of the day. The Fox Mote was a plane that offered considerable luxury, housing 4 passengers in the enclosed forward area protected from. So here we have to read, and okay, 1934 is following year they have written. So we have to find Fox Mote. Comparison is there. By comparison with the regular open crate. Noted means for its what? Fox was a plane that offered considerable luxury. Luxury will come because that offered. So it's noted for its luxury, we will just write here. So this is luxury. So for next question, 8th number, fill in the blanks. 1934 is here. Mercer's company started to transport and passengers. So this sentence structure is important. You should find it accordingly. So blank is here, and after blank and is here, and passengers. So definitely in sentence structure they will talk about passengers first, and whatever is blank answer is there, they will talk about second number. So I will just show it too. Mostly they are doing like that in fill in the blanks. So Mercer word is here, opened for business in this. Picking up the airline's first passenger word is there, and on the last day of that year commenced a regular delivery of mail. To transport, delivery means transport, mail will come. Mail and passengers. So here they have written passengers first, and they have just so much thing they have written about one word. Okay, now ninth number. From 1935, planes landed on dash to pick up fresh produce. Okay, 1935. In next paragraph, let's find 1935 is here. I can see this. Uh, Planes landed on dash, where they landed. In starting in 1935, Mercer would not put the plane down where there was no airstrip. Instead, using remote beaches such as this, fresh thing, city market, fresh conditions, fresh produce. Okay, so let's read full story. Starting in 1935, Mercer would put down, landed on, where they landed these planes, would not put the plane down where there was no airstrip, instead using remote beaches. So it means, such as one of the mouth of the river, collect the white bait and whisk them to night train waiting city markets in perfect fresh condition. It means landed on beaches. Okay, so next question. So this was easy reading if students had got this reading. The airline expanded at first because it got a World War II also. So World War II also, it is given in the next paragraph, and we are looking for the airline expanded at first because it got a. Okay, now expansion. Considered remote coast grow in business continued thanks in large part of government issued subsidy which allowed them to expand word into neighboring areas. Okay, the airline expanded at first because it got a dash. So World War II is here. Aircraft were considered so essential to remote coast, they were not militarized. In fact, the business continued to grow in the early years thanks in large part to a government issued subsidy, because it got a subsidy which allowed him to expand into neighboring areas. So expansion they have given. Okay, so 11, there was a shortage of, from the state 1942, shortage 1942 is here, see this. Okay, so in his diary, I am back to where I started 8 years ago on my own. So let's read it from here also. The settlers were always in need of the mail transportation in time, though this presented Mercer with a pressing issue. With so many now joining the Air Force, he no longer had enough pilots. So pilots, there was a shortage of pilots. Because where we have got the location, try to read. If here I am not getting the same sentence structure, then you can read it furthermore and you can read it here also. But in the above line, we have got the location. He no longer had enough pilots. In 1942, there was a shortage of pilots from the state by 1942. Now 12th, there were disputes at the airlines. Some disputes at the airlines about the quantity of dash in each plane. Final years. Every flight but some of the final year. One man protest, I think disputes, but let's find it. The only solution to keep the airline going was pack as much every possible and make every flight count, but some of the Mercy's newly found team objected to the amount of cargo they had to carry, which for a small rural airline was effective. Like one man, this left the airline after a few months in protest about, let's read it full. See this here, we are looking for this 12th number. There were disputes at the airline about the quantity of dash in each plane. So each plane, I think this would be there. The only solution to keep the airline going was to pack as much as every plane. So every plane is each plane. See this, as possible and make every flight count. But some of the Mercer's newly formed team objected. So disputes, I think that is the dispute to the amount of cargo. Quantity means amount of cargo. But okay, there were disputes at the time about the quantity of cargo they had to carry for small one man airline. After few months in against carrying more than one was appropriate for the aircraft. Okay, yes. Now next, 1950s became popular and the airline suffered. In 1950s, so only this much we have left. When Mercer died in 1944, the airline was taken over by this person, a man who shared Mercer's pioneering spirit. Under this leadership, the newly formed West Coast Airways saw another decade of profitable return. Means 1944 and another decade means 1954. That is 50s they are talking. But in the following decade, the times changed fast. Helicopters were found to be ideal machines for the coast terrain, quickly took over the vast majority of the local transport. So here 1950s became popular and the airline suffered. In this airline they have done it another decade of profitable returns, but in the following decades means 1950s they are talking. Times change fast. Helicopters were soon found to be ideal machines for the coast terrain and quickly took over the vast local air transport. And airline suffered means helicopters became popular, were found to be ideal machines, cofters. So this we have completed. So next reading we will be doing it in next video.